Hello guys, welcome to another session on time, speed and distance brought to you by onlinepsa.in. Today we'll take an above average problem and see how we can utilize and use various principles of time, speed and distance here to solve these four questions. Let us read out the text first. City X and Y are connected to a straight road, moving simultaneously towards each other. After traveling some distance, B takes a 60-degree turn to his left. 2 hours later, after B turns, A takes a 60-degree turn to his right. A travels 60 km after turning before he meets B. A and B meet 10 hours after they start their journey. A and B together travel 200 km before turning and they arrive at the meeting point simultaneously. Looks like the question is really lengthy. So I would recommend you pause the video, read the question again and try it out all by yourself first, just like how I advise for all other standard questions. This might look a bit tough, but let us try to figure this out. You can try it out and then unpause the video and continue to watch this. I'll continue to solve the question now. So let us draw the diagram first. We have been given that there are two cities. Let us see. This is X and this is Y. It is not written that A is starting from X, so we are assuming that A is starting from here and B is starting from here. Okay. After traveling some distance, B takes a 60-degree turn to his left. So let us assume that B travels this distance, right? Let me mark it as P. So let us assume this distance is covered by B in T1 time. Just make sure that this is not the distance, this is the time taken by B to travel from Y to P. By that same time, A would have moved, say, till this point. I'll mark it as Q, and this one is also T1 time taken by A to cover from X to Q. Okay. What is the next information? 2 hours later, after B turns. So at this moment, after T1 time, B takes a turn towards its left. So let us assume this is the path B starts moving across. This is 60-degree. That is what is given in the question. Okay. 2 hours later, after B turns. So B turns at this point and 2 hours later after B turns, which means A continues to travel after B has turned. A continues from the point Q towards this direction. Let us see, let us assume that A covers this distance. Okay, this is a distance equal to 2 hours. Distance equal to 2 hours of how much A can cover. And then A takes a right towards 60-degree. A takes a right. So as you can see that B was traveling from, say, this point as M, right? B was traveling in the direction of P to M, and A is now traveling the direction from R towards M, and thus they meet at the point M. And this is also 60-degree. It is given in the question, so it looks like it is an equilateral triangle. Okay. Let us assume that A takes time T2 to cover this distance Rm. So this distance A takes T2 time to cover this distance. So there is a lot of information here. Let us form equations from these information. What are the other information given? A and B meet 10 hours after they start their journey, which means A starts from this point X, goes towards Q, passes through R, and then takes a 60-degree turn to reach M in 10 hours. Similarly, since they are starting at the same time, B travels from Y, reaches P, and then they takes a 60-degree turn to reach M in 10 hours. And they travel 200 kilometers before turning. So the distance PY plus the distance XR is given as 200 kilometer. This is the distance that they travel before turning, right? And what is that other information? A and B meet 10 hours after they start their journey, which also means that if you add these two sides, RM and PM, if you add RM and PM to this 200, this is their total journey, right? And they cover this entire journey in 10 hours. This entire journey is covered in 10 hours. How much is this total distance? 200 plus RM and PM are nothing but sides of an equilateral triangle here, which is 60 kilometer each. So the total will be 120. Hence the distance becomes 320 kilometer. They travel 320 kilometer, and that too in 10 hours, which means 32 kilometer per hour is their relative speed, and their relative speed will be speed of A plus speed of B. Right? They are opposite in direction, so their relative speeds will be SA plus SB. Together they cover 320 kilometers in 10 hours. So their sum of the speeds will be equal to 32. So that is the first information that we have got. SA plus SB is equal to 32. What are the other information that we can bring forth? Other information is this time, right? T1, time T1 plus 2 hours plus RM is equal to 10, right? If the time taken by A to cover XQ is T1 and the time taken by A to cover the distance QR is 2, time taken by A to cover the distance RM is T2, we know that sum of all these times is equal to 10, which is what is given here. So we can form another equation, T1 plus T2 is equal to 8. Okay, what are the other information that we can bring forth? Excuse me. The other information is when B is at this point P, A is at the point Q, right? A is at the point Q and B is at this point P, right? And B from here takes some time to reach M. By the same time, A would have covered 2 hours plus some time. Okay, so the time is same from Q to M for A and P to M, which is nothing but 60 kilometer. P to M is 60 kilometer. So for the same time, B covers PM distance, which is 60 kilometer, and A covers 60 plus this QR. What is QR? QR is nothing but speed of A multiplied by 2 hours, which means speed of the distance covered by A in 2 hours. So what we have got here is, this is the ratio of speed of B to ratio of speed of A. So here we got one equation And here is another one. We see that we have two variables, so we should be able to work out to get the speeds. So let us solve this equation. 60 SA is equal to 60 SB plus twice of SA and SB. 60 SA plus 60 SB. SB we can write as 32 minus SA. Sorry, this should be equal to plus twice of SA multiplied by SB is 32 minus SA. So we are trying to solve this one for SA. We see that 2 is common here everywhere, so we'll take out 30 SA. Okay, and let's just open all the brackets. This should be 960 30 SA plus 32 SA minus SA square. Let's take this to the left hand side. SA square is equal to, sorry, SA square, here you have 30 SA, you have 32 SA, so you get 60 minus 32 SA minus 960 is equal to 0. We are trying to solve for SA. I'm just repeating again, and let's see. How can we divide 48? Let us see the factors of 960. 960 is 96 multiplied by 10. We can also write, this is not 48, this should be 28. 60 minus 32 is 28. So we are looking for a number 28. 96 multiplied by 10, we can write 2 into 48. So we can see that this is 48 and this is 20. We can write 48 minus 20. I'm just writing um, in lengthy terms so that everyone can understand. So if you figure this out, SA will come around minus 48 or 20. Since the speed cannot be negative, we'll reject out this one. Speed will be 20. SA comes out to be 20. So SB will be 12, right? Both of them sum up to 32. Okay. So what is the B's speed? There was one question which had three options. There could have been four options. So whatever it is, 12 kilometer per hour should be the speed of B. Okay. What else can we get? There is another equation that we have, which is T1 plus T2 is equal to 8. Where to make use of this one? Let us find out what information we can write further. Just scroll up a bit. The other information that we can write is the total distance, right? From P to Y. From P to Y. What's the total distance? That total distance is SB multiplied by T1 plus this is 120 PM plus MR. So we'll write 120 plus SA multiplied by T1 plus 2 hours, right? This is the total distance traveled. This is also equal to 320, which means we can write plus SA multiplied by T1 plus 2 is equal to 200. SB we have already got. What's the value of SB? SB is 12. So we'll write 12 into T1 plus SA is 20. 20 multiplied by T1 plus 2 is equal to 200. If you try to solve this, this is 32 T1, which should be equal to 200 minus 40, 160. T1 should be equal to 160 by 32, right? 48, 440, 85. So we get time T1 is 5, which will also mean from this equation that T2 is 3. Now let us see the other questions. First is, how many hours after turning does A meet B? So we can see that A takes the turn at the point R, and it takes T2 time to cover the distance RM. M is the meeting point. So essentially they are asking what is the value of T2, which we have already got as 3. Next question is, what distance does A travel before turning 60 degrees to his right? So the question is how much A covers from X till this point R. So they are asking what is the distance of XR. XR is nothing but speed of A, which is 20, multiplied by the 2 times. The 2 times are T1 plus 2. T1 is 5, 5 plus 2 is 7. This will give you 140. 140 should be this answer. And third question is, if A and B had not turned at all, after how many hours would they have met? Right? How many hours would they have met? Total distance we know is XR plus 60 plus PY. This is the straight distance, that is XY. Correct? And this value is nothing but 200 plus 60, right? XR plus PY is given as 200 and this distance is 60. So 260. 260 is the total distance and their relative speed is 32 kilometer per hour. We had already got this here. Let us divide this 4, 8 and 4, 6, 24, 24, 5, 8. So we get 8, 1 by 8 hours, which is option D. And yes, that should be the time after which A and B, if they had not turned, would have covered this distance of 260. Okay, so I hope you got the principles behind this question. This question is definitely lengthy. I'm not saying that this cannot come in a competitive exam. This can still come, but if you have very less time, you would not be able to uh, possibly solve this question. If there is 1 minute left, you would not be able to solve this question for sure. So better it would be to move to some other questions. But if you have some time and you have definitely attempted some other questions, then you can try this one. At least you can solve couple of questions out of these 4 questions in quick time and go ahead. Get the informations in the form of equations and then solve them Apply all the techniques on the given information, and you should be able to do good to all these four questions. Thanks. That's it for today. We'll have another session coming up on time, speed, and distance, which is our topic of interest these days. We'll also cover a lot of other topics in the coming days. So please bookmark online psa.in, try to solve questions from there, and do give us your feedback so that we can improve our content structure. We'll definitely take your uh, concerns and feedback into consideration, and we wish a good practice for your competitive examinations. All the best. Thanks.